Thank you. Well, welcome to all of you. This is quite the challenge. We've got a big topic, 25 minutes to do it, but I know you guys are up for it. So in order to just set the stage on the expertise we've got on this stage right now, I want just in a single sentence what your company's superpower is in building this vision.
I have to start with our customers, which we have 200 million of them, and our superpower is to make the best doctor to be in Dhaka as a superhero, the best teacher to be Islamabad as a superhero, and make sure that the local language, Urdu, Punjabi, Bengali, LLMs make that agentic transformation.
Barry?
Yes, at Radium, we provide trust technology that operates at the center of markets. Our partners and customers are central banks, sector regulators, and we power open finance initiatives globally, including here for the Central Bank of the UAE. And to put that in context, we secure every transaction between every consumer, between every bank and fintech every day. And it's very large-scale stuff, so it's very exciting.
This is Murat from Network International, and our superpower is, I guess, we are operating in 56 markets through licenses from central banks, working together with more than 260 banks and financial institutions, and truly settling in multiple currencies, which is a good enabler for borderless payments, and operating with $400 billion of payments volume in the region.
All right, last but not least, Vibhor.
Hi, good evening, everyone. This is Vibhor from NeoPay, a large regional payments company. I would say our superpower is we listen to our customers, we innovate boldly, and we have the agility to build in payment solutions at the pace at which the industry and the payment methods are changing. So I would say that's our superpower.
So since we're here at ADFW, I want to just pick up on Barry's word trust. I mean, that is the underpinning of all financial services, borderless or otherwise. So given your work, especially here in the UAE, tell us, what can the rest of the world learn from how the UAE is doing this?
Sure. So the UAE has set a new benchmark by essentially investing in a national open finance platform called Al Tarek. And they're building the infrastructure that's going to secure consented data sharing for every consumer and every bank and fintech and insurer. We've been working for the last 2 years. It's being rolled out right now. It's a 5-year program. And they've coupled that with a very modern accreditation licensing framework that makes market access quite straightforward. And they're encouraging a fintech market to develop here. And they're been quite successful in attracting fintechs to come to the region to establish the UAE as a modern financial services sector around fintech and to really grow that.
Murat, do you want to add to that?
I moved to UAE around a year ago, and this gives me some chance around comparison. My past is banking and finance, but in other parts of the world. The one thing that I think changed everything is the vision and the clarity of the vision and the ability to execute that vision and being able to provide the platforms so that the people who are executing that vision can really work on it. I'll give you some examples. TAM is a combination of more than 1,100 government services in one platform. You don't see TAM a lot in other parts of the world. And the output of that is immediately a small business can come to the country and then they can open shop pretty fast. UAE Pass as a digital identity is another example of it. So these are very good examples in terms of where we are in and the market that we are in.
Vibhor, your take?
So I think I would add to that. I mean, we are talking about borderless commerce. So I think UAE also leads in terms of using the payment infrastructure and driving, global commerce around it. So if you see, there are multiple payment rails that work hand in hand in the country. Your traditional card rails, UAE has just launched its own instant payment solution. Along with that, players like NeoPay power a lot of global payment solutions like Alipay, WeChat Pay, UPI from India. All of this interoperate together, and now it's becoming the hub for digital assets and crypto payments as well. And there is a clear regulatory framework that drives all this. So for companies like ours, there's certainty in terms of how we build these products and solutions. And for consumers, there is trust and there is a long-term play, despite the fact that a lot of these payment methods are emerging. So I would say that standardization along with the right regulatory framework to drive adoption and acceptance is again something that can be picked up from the UAE.
And Khan, your perspective.
So it's been 1 year that we moved our headquarters from Amsterdam to Emirates. And currently we are the largest NASDAQ-listed company headquartered in Emirates as well. Very proud of that. But what I have seen is access to talent, access to capital, logistics, and being treated by the government as a customer is unique. And the bottle caps are not attached to the bottle as well. So this is a fantastic place to do business.
All right, so we know what the UAE is doing right. Now, as we kind of zoom out and try to scale this globally, I'm wondering what are the biggest potential roadblocks that you see, and how can AI help to solve it? I mean, you cannot have a conversation without AI these days, right? So who would like to tackle the first one? Do you want to start, Barry?
Sure. So the biggest challenge is probably data frameworks, privacy frameworks, and the harmonization of those across jurisdictions. That is problematic because it requires sector regulators and policy authorities to sort of collaborate closely. However, there is greater convergence now on data exchange standards that are dominating across several global markets as the sort of de facto way to share data in a consented way. And there are initiatives such as the Bank of International Settlements, Aperta project, which we're pleased to be leading on, essentially looking to bridge open finance networks across borders for data portability. There are 5 in-scope markets currently, Brazil, the UK, the UAE, Hong Kong, and India. And we are building that right now. We've been working on it all year. We're about to do live testing with real institutions across those markets to show that it is possible to have data portability for various use cases across different markets, and to essentially provide transnational trust technology and also a translation layer currently to be able to translate payloads from different standards in the origin market into the destination market. So that's a very real example of something that's going on right now, and we see great prospects for that to be extended into a pilot and to roll that out commercially.
Quick follow-up. What is the timeline on this? It sounds like we need more convergence. What do you see as the timeline?
Well, we've been working on it for a year. The project's been in conception for probably 2, if not more. It requires collaboration with a steering committee of central banks and sector regulators like the Banco Central in Brazil, the FCA in the UK, etc., the CBUA here. And that collaboration, that co-creation to solve for these problems. We've got 2 use cases to start with, which is trade finance, sort of bills of lading and letters of credit, which don't currently benefit from common standards, really. And otherwise, it's account opening for SMEs and businesses, which is typically quite problematic as you move between jurisdictions. But it's really future-proof around any potential use case. So I think this could become a real possibility in the coming year or so. Yeah, we're building it right now. It's a live thing. You're going to be able to test and use it, and it's going to work.
And for you, Khan, what would you say is the biggest potential roadblock?
In today's world, success depends on a person's, a company's, a leader's ability to deliver on multiple objectives, which can actually potentially be conflicting, 180 degrees apart. For example, eradicating poverty versus creating shareholder value. And I believe AI is the real superpower in these days, because when you are trying to provide financial inclusivity in a country like Pakistan, and when you want to give 200,000 nano loans every single day, if you are not able to differentiate a mother trying to buy flour, eggs, sugar, cook some cookies and sell it on the market versus somebody else who is trying to just finance their next sports betting, you are going to fail. The same way, unless we are able to create local language models in Urdu, in Punjabi, in Bengali, in Uzbek, in Kazakh, and make sure that we focus on making that agentic capability accessible by a doctor, by a teacher, by a young mother, I think it's impossible to deliver in between these conflicting objectives. And I believe, our role as a digital services company, which also happens to have mobile licenses in 5 countries, is to drive this transformation.
All right. Vibor?
So I would say for us, the challenge is building trust at scale. You would have heard through this whole day the amount of payment methods that are coming up, that especially in the UAE and the region, you have your traditional rails, you have instant payments, now you have digital cryptocurrencies, etc., right? So how do you build trust at scale? And I think in that, AI plays a critical role. And for payment companies like ours, for example, NeoPays, we are investing heavily on using AI to manage fraud risk, build trust on a transaction, because agentic commerce is going to be a reality, and you will need more and more seamless payments across multiple payment methods. So how do you ensure you have trust around that? And you add on to the power of quantum computing, which is becoming more and more viable. So you're always fighting with fraudsters who have that capability. So how do you be one up over them? So I think that is a place where we could use AI to build more trust. Yeah.
All right, Murad, I'm going to give you the last word as you are the digital highway. Where do you see the bottleneck?
When you think about borderless payments, it means that I should be able to send money anywhere in the world like it's one country, right? That's the definition, more or less. So Network International is in 56 countries. We are licensed to operate in those countries. And it's an established company with $400 billion of volume. But the moment that one of my customers wants to go outside of Middle East and Africa region, it could be to Europe, it could be to US, I am exposed to new regulations. So as we all know, there are regulatory frameworks that are separate from each other, and there are country dynamics that are different from each other as well, because the digitization journey and appetite of the countries are different too, which means that for players like us, who's trying to be the borderless payments enabler for the whole world, it takes a lot of time and energy to build it globally. That I see as the main challenge so far.
Okay. Well, I'd like us to fast forward 3 to 5 years because it feels like things are happening more and more quickly and the future is now. So what is your boldest prediction for this space? I mean, feel free to give a tangible example. What does it look and feel like? And I'm going to start on the end there again with you, Khan.
Look, I see a great trend for integrating terrestrial networks with space platforms. And that practically means that regardless wherever a person is, whether in the top of a mountain, in a desert, in a completely remote area, we will be able to deliver AI capabilities and deliver services, world-class services, at a fraction of a cost in multimodal environments with voice and video. And that will require, of course, deploying a very low latency network and being able to deliver those services.
Barry?
Sure. I think we can safely predict that we're going to move way beyond open banking, right? That was just the beginning. And we're going to see a much wider adoption of cross-sectoral data sharing with consumers' consent across much more sectors: energy, telecommunications, property, etc., leading to a really connected digital economy powered by data, structured data. And I think that coupled with agentic AI and other AI-based models, and the compute that's going to be online by then, I think that's a very powerful combination for hyper-personalized digital experiences.
Murat?
I think in my area, agentic commerce is one big trend that's coming. And the way that we see it at this point is that our clients are going to be able to tell their personal LLM or personal agent that pay my bills for this month, and then we will see that robot, that agent talking to the other agent of the utility agency, and then they're going to finalize that interaction and transaction together. And the more important thing is, it seems like it's going to happen globally at the same time, which means it's going to be very in line with borderless payments objective of the world as well.
Vibor?
So I would just add on to what Murat is saying. I truly believe that commerce is going to be done by AI agents and not by individuals. And it's not even 5 years away. I believe it's just a couple of years away simply because you have all the right things going to enable that. Your payment credentials are now tokenized. There are regulatory frameworks clearly defining how you authenticate on behalf, right? AI literacy is percolating. So I think what's going to happen is for companies like ours, we'll need to be ready to accept payments from agents, and more importantly, an agent is going to fight another agent from a authentication perspective, fraud management perspective, and marketing will move away from really building experiences or marketing campaigns for consumer behavior, but more how an agent would behave, which is backed by so much data. So I think agentic commerce is here. UAE just launched a pilot. Global big boys are coming onto it. Walmart OpenAI just signed a deal a month back. So that's something to watch out for. Yeah.
Well, this is certainly an exciting picture that you have painted for us. We have just about 5 minutes left. I'm wondering, what do you think is the single most important action a company can take today to prepare for this exciting tomorrow?
Look, this is the first Abu Dhabi Finance Week I'm attending, and I understand that this is the fourth one. And I'm impressed in terms of efficiency here. I think if I look back the last 4 years, we made some important decisions in our company's life, including after the war, exiting from Russia, investing in Ukraine, listing Kyivstar in NASDAQ. But when I look back, I see that moving our headquarters to here, being closer to talent, capital, efficiency, and an effective regulator was one of the best. And I think each company needs to reflect on this and be in a place where they can do business without hurdles and unnecessary burdens.
Barry, I see you nodding there.
Sure, just building on that, I think number one priority for any major corporation is to get ready and to build the AI-ready foundations for agentic AI, and to make sure that your data is in good order, it's well structured in terms of core data, and that you've got the capabilities to be able to secure agents who are going to act on behalf of consumers and businesses, sort of autonomously with their consent and control. So you're going to need to be able to manage that, right? These are ephemeral. They are spawning, and they're going to interact directly with and on behalf of consumers. How are you going to control that in the future, which is kind of upon us, is some of the big problems that we are solving right now, and we're quite excited about. So that's the number one priority I see.
In our case, the businesses or the financial institutions that we serve, they are already accepting payments in multiple currencies, and they are already settling in multiple countries. But what is next for us is just building that into a single API, so that wherever they go, it would be a single integration. Instead of taking a few weeks, it's going to be immediate for them. That's going to enable eliminating any account that they hold in anywhere, because it's their settlement into their account immediately. So it's about again building a borderless payments option for them, but this time through a one-click API that they can use anytime.
Okay, and Vibor, I know you have something to add to this.
No, I think AI, obviously everyone is talking about AI and how that is used. I think companies need to be ready. What I believe is there's a lot of noise around AI, so you need to be ready to identify what are the areas where you would invest in, because executives can get lost in the multiple options that exist. For payment companies like ours, there are certain areas which are very clear, right? One, get AI ready, or at least AI native talent in our development to not just build cooler products, but to ensure that software development life cycles are crunched. And we have seen, we have been able to do that by around 25 to 30%. Or, use AI for, like, for example, borderless payments in terms of picking up the right payment methods when you are orchestrating a transaction, or use it for fraud and risk management. So I think each company needs to choose which are the areas that you really need to invest in, because you can get lost. So that would be my 2 cents on it.
That's certainly true, but I thank you for each of your insights for helping us not to get lost as we build this borderless financial future. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
As well.
Thank you.